Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on our Red Hat live streaming channels across the globe. We are broadcasting on Twitch, numerous other places as well, including Facebook and YouTube. I am unmuted on one of them as I'm monitoring them, so sorry I had to echo there for a second. I am joined this morning. I'm super excited for this topic because I have not seen very much insight into it yet. But I'm joined this morning by my fellow Red Hatter and product manager at Red Hat, Miguel Perez Colino. He is going to introduce himself and walk us through migration analytics from Red Hat this morning. Take it away, Miguel.
Hey, thank you, Chris. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you. Well, for you, it's good morning, right?
For me, it's good morning. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning. So, as you said, my name is Miguel Perez Colino. I'm based in Spain. I'm a Spaniard, and I'm product manager in Red Hat, and I'm managing this product migration analytics that we intend to provide to help people understand their own IT whenever they're thinking about doing a migration. So the title of this is Accelerating the Move to Hybrid Cloud Through Data-Driven Decision Making. I know, very long title, too many words. but I mean, if we dissect this, as you see, people want to move to cloud, to hybrid cloud, to have more than one cloud and making the most of their own data centers. And they want to make the decisions, to the right decisions. Where do I put what, and how do I move it from A to B? With containers, everything is much easier when you want to move things because they are already standardized. But what do you do with all those things that are running in your data center that you want to move to a more cost-effective environment or even modernize it? So we think that data is a good place to start. You want the data. Give me the data.
State is everything, right?
Yes,
business doesn't exist without state.
Yes. So it's what it drives decisions. To make good decisions, you need to be well informed, and we want the customers to be well informed on their own infrastructure. So this is what is migration analytics. But before, let me introduce my team. We are a team in Red Hat, which is called Red Hat Modernization and Migration Solutions. And we are building the tools to move all these workloads from A to B, from bringing your Java applications to more modern enterprise application platforms, such as JBoss, or even containerizing them in OpenShift, to bringing VMs from your proprietary virtualization into Red Hat virtualization, or OpenStack to moving containers from one cluster to another. I mean, we build those tools that give you first mobility for your workloads, and second, the chance to make the decision on what you want them. Because if you cannot move a workload, you cannot decide, right? So this is what we do. We build all these tools to help, and we want to do it from the beginning to the end, from the decision-making process until you are really executing the migration and moving the workloads for sure, or even tinkering on them to modernize them and to have them in a better situation. So this, of course, brings all the benefits of open source that we have been bringing from Red Hat for so long, like reducing the cost. I mean, our development model based in open source, and everything we do is open source. So this provides a strategic benefit, which is, among many other benefits, being able to reduce the cost and also accelerate the adoption of new technologies. So this is our duty. This is our charter. So, and this is what we're working on, right? So this will be like the journey to hybrid cloud. People are like, okay, first I need to discover what I have. It's like building a map. Let's say that you arrive to a new city and you're there, and it's like, I want to go for lunch. What do you want to have for lunch? Oh, I would have some noodles. Some Chinese noodles would be okay. Okay, where are the Chinese restaurants? And you have to look for Chinese restaurants to eat Chinese noodles, right? And you don't know. So you ask the guy in the hotel, hey, where can I find a Chinese restaurant? And he gives you 2 or 3 spots, So you visit that place the second time, you already know a couple of spots. And when you're living there, you already know every street and every place, right? So sometimes you know your own city until somebody tells you, look, there's a new place over there, right? So we're trying to be that discovery option for you, to show you, okay, these are the targets that you have that you probably didn't know, that you could go to and have a super nice bowl of noodles. So first, for that, you need the data of the infrastructure. You need to discover what is in the infrastructure,
Absolutely.
and then be able to make that decision. So let's focus on this part. Afterwards, then is when you do the transformation, whether it's just a rehost, or just taking a VM from your virtualization platform and moving it to another virtualization platform, just lift and shift, or if it's just replatforming because you have an application that is perfectly J2EE or JEE reading, and it could run on any JEE enterprise application platform, you could move it. Or, I mean, if it's a command of the shelf, you repurchase, but sometimes you want to do a more in-depth changes and refactor it to make it more cloud native. So this is what you're going to do afterwards. But to get to that point, you need to make the decisions, right? There's these phases, and then you go or no go, and you have to understand where you are to be able to make those decisions. So we are going to focus on that part, okay? To focus on that part, we build migration analytics, and we are going to provide information for everyone. So we gather the information on the sizing on the virtual infrastructure to build a savings estimation. And why do we do that? I mean, to convince the person who's managing the budget that this makes sense, right? Because you want to bring all these workloads to these new platforms that you're going to have a lot of fun playing with and putting in production and then making run and enjoying having them running. So first you have to build a business case, and you have to convince the one with the budget, hey, this makes sense, right? So we provide that data.
It's the golden rule, right? The person with the gold makes the rules, right?
Yes.
You have to prove to them to spend the gold or save the gold in this case, potentially.
Exactly. No, the thing is that they want to spend the gold, but they want to spend it in what makes more sense. And right now it makes more sense to spend it in innovation, in new stuff, in making your business better, and not just spending it on keeping the lights on. So if you could reduce what you spend on keeping the lights on and put it on innovation, I mean, you're giving an edge to your own enterprise, you know. So this is where we start. It's very important, and sometimes it takes quite a lot of time to be able to build a nice estimate. So we have curated a lot of data and reviewed all the documentation that we have to be able to provide what in English is said, an educated guess. Okay, so
how do you say that?
Yeah, I mean,
how would you say that in Spain? I mean, what is educated guess in Spain?
We don't have an expression like that in Spanish.
We don't make educated guesses in the Spanish language. We make fully educated decisions all the time.
Oh man, we could discuss about that quite a lot. But, yeah. So the thing is that how did we get there? Well, we went to public online calculator tools. We got all those offerings from the vendors, and we put them together, and then we talked to some experts on the area, and we adjust them, and then we use them with customers, and they told us, hey, this is pretty accurate, you know. Sometimes they were like super surprised, like, hey, you've made a very good calculation, you know. So we built that so it's useful. Okay, if it's not accurate enough, it's not useful. If you have to spend a lot of time getting this data, it's not useful. So the minimum amount of time with the greatest accuracy we could build.
Absolutely. It goes back to that Red Hat, you know, our standard Red Hat message, right? Like we use information that we learn from customers and bake it back into the product, right? Like this tool is only going to get better, and it's already great, right? Like we're going to make this tool better based off the feedback we get from folks. So that's why we're showing it off here, so you can get the idea that it's here for your use, and we want you to learn from it and, you know, learn from our learnings, right? Like that's the Red Hat way.
You're going to love the next step because it's the migration summary, you know. Sometimes you start doing a migration and you have to stop it because of the risk. Okay, it's not that there is no risk. I mean, there's always some kind of risk, but there are some risks and some risks, you know, and there are some that you can afford and some that you cannot afford or you shouldn't, you know, even if you can, you know. So we have to tackle that part too, because a migration could be started because it's very good for cost savings, but it could be stopped because there's too much risk. So we have to assess that. And this is where I've met many, I mean, we have hundreds of consultants in Red Hat that are working with customers on a daily basis. They are seeing things, and that they are doing migrations one day after another. So I interviewed, I don't know how many consultants, but a quite large number of consultants to get information on, okay, what could make this migration difficult? And they gave me a lot of tips on And then we collect them and we put them together. And it's what we call in this tool flags, For example, if you want to migrate a virtual machine and it has a raw device mapping that is directly attached from the storage array, I mean, you want to copy that data and make it a virtual disk or not. Maybe you have it like that because you need a lot of I/O and you need to keep it like that. So that is not a huge risk, but it requires more effort. So we are evaluating that, and we're saying, hey, this is going to be more difficult. Okay. So we find things like that, like shared disks, CPU pinnings, policies applied to VMs. And we collected like quite a nice amount of rules to be able to detect these flags and raise the flag, like, okay, I found this, watch out, so we can evaluate how difficult it's going to be this migration,
Where was this tool in 2017 when I was doing a massive cloud lift and shift? I really could have used that then, because it really would have saved me a lot of sleepless nights. I mean, seriously, right? Like, we had to do a database migration at one point and moving all of the data for the company. Like, yes, syncing it up over time in the background is one thing. When you actually do the big switch flip from, your data center to a cloud provider, that's when things get interesting. And that's where this is going to give you some insight, I hope.
So that's interesting, because we're also building a tool for that. We have what we call infrastructure migration solution. It's a tool that also considers that you're going to need some assessment and some work with you to be able to set up a target platform for the job virtualization environment. So, but there's a tool to do the massive migration of VMs that we have built and that is out there, and that it's already version 1.2, and that we have used in customers. We have one success story with Corpflex in Brazil that was super awesome. I mean, they did the migration in like 7 months, if I recall correctly, and they saved like, in this case, the savings were huge. It was like 87%. They went from $4,600 per VM per year to 600. Yes.
Stop
astonishing. I mean,
what were they doing to spend $4,000 on a VM a year? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, how much redundancy do they have built into that?
Yeah.
I mean, there must have been all kinds of, like, it must have been a good VM.
and it's a service provider. They're providing services to customers. So they're managing like all kind of workloads, and they need to be sure that everything is running. And
they
just
increased their stock price.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, they're very happy with that, and they're reinvesting their savings in OpenShift, in going to containers and trying new stuff, and they're pretty happy. So it's a good example. So I'm getting in the weeds. So let's go back to the tool.
Sorry.
So now we have this migration summary to assess the risk. And then is when you start doing things, and you need a detailed list of what is in there. So you have the migration inventory, and you have a list of the VMs with the detected workloads that could help you make the decision on where to move. Okay. We are adding some. Yes.
Did you advance your slides at all? Because I'm still on slide 5.
Yeah. I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay. I'm sorry. I sorry. We were all over the map. So yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to the point. I'm sorry, because I start talking about this and I could talk. So focus, Miguel. Focus. So,
it's okay.
So we have, as I said, this migration inventory, and we are adding a couple of features that are coming. One is we already discovered runtimes, middleware runtimes, but we want to provide some direct information on that, like what runtimes did we discover, what percentage of them, what number of them. So you could be like, okay, and if we detect anything there that is like, okay, this is not good for migration, we'll add a flag. And also the JDK, the Java Development Kit. Some JDKs now you have to pay for them. And Red Hat is offering with an offer that comes with RHEL, but it could run on Windows too. That is the Red Hat bill of OpenJDK. And this is what we normally encourage the customers to use when we go, for example, with JBoss or Fuse or anything of our middleware, where we'll say to the customer, use OpenJDK, we are maintaining it, we are supporting you with it, it runs perfectly well, and it provides you a very good performance. And many of our customers are using it. So we want to provide that data too. So going to the next slide, what's behind the curtain? Okay, we have told everything that is in front of the curtain. What's behind the curtain is pretty straightforward. Okay, the customer has a vSphere environment with many VMs, with many workloads, And what we do is we drop CloudForms. CloudForms comes as an appliance. It's an OVA that you put it on vSphere. Making it run is just 3 steps, and it's just selecting a number in a script and saying yes, create a database, next, and it's running. Okay. And after that, you have to configure the provider, which is another 3 steps. And if you want detailed data, it's another 5 steps. I mean, I'm saying it by heart. It may be 4 instead of 3, okay? But it's a very straightforward configuration. We are providing CloudForms for migrations, a subscription of CloudForms for free, initially for 60 days. It could be extended, of course, if the migration is happening. So you could use it first to extract the data, and second, to be able to do the migration in case you think you want to do it. So CloudForms connects to vSphere, gets all the data, and we dump it in a file. It looks like, come on, in this connected base, you're dumping it to a file? Yes, because we want the customer to be able to review. We want to be the customer comfortable with the data that they're sharing with us, so they could review every single piece of data that they're going to share with us. And then we provide a service in cloud.redhat.com. We are providing services now in cloud.redhat.com. And one of them is Migration Analytics. So Migration Analytics gets this data. We call it the payload. So you upload the payload to Migration Analytics. It processes it, and then it provides the reports, the savings estimation, the workload, the migration summary, and the workload, the migration inventory. So with these reports, then you can say, okay, what am I going to do? In what we usually do with customers is that they have this session called a discovery session, in which an architect from Red Hat Consulting, our partners do it too. So it's not only with Red Hat Consulting, but it usually is with Red Hat Consulting. So we go in place, we spend one day with them reviewing all the data. Normally it would take like a week or so to get this data, at least manually.
Oh, yeah.
With this, it's going to be one morning to leave it running, and then another morning to get the data.
Wow.
So in around 8 hours, 6 hours, depending on the complexity of the environment, it could go around 12 hours maximum of work. It's ready for you to be able to review it.
And you're just handing it credentials and letting it rip, essentially, right? Like you're just letting it go through your entire environment and look at stuff, right?
Yes. I mean, you provide the credentials to CloudForms, which is in your data center, and then you export the data, and those credentials get nowhere. They're only in CloudForms. You can delete then the appliance, and that's it. Okay. So we try to make it as honest, as safe and safe as possible. So what is behind the bonnet? Do you call it bonnet in the US, or is it British word?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The bonnet, whatever. Whenever you
what's under the bonnet? So what's under the hood? Yeah.
The hood. Okay.
Bonnet is definitely English. Hood is British definitely English. American. Yeah. When I say English, I mean England. Yeah, British English. Yeah.
British. So yeah, I mean, it's just that I'm working on a daily basis with Phil.
No, I hear you. Marco. Yeah. No, it's funny how the international company thing is. You got to translate for everybody.
So Phil is from Newcastle, and I'm getting some expression from Newcastle. And so now I use bonnet instead of hood. So under the hood, well, we have like a lot of products that we have in Red Hat, and that we're using them. We have Patternfly. Patternfly is a project from Red Hat that we're using in many products, from Satellite to OpenShift to almost anything, to provide a common understanding on how it works. I love this project. I mean, I have a soft spot for it. And the thing is that it's providing, I heard an engineer say, we're using Patternfly so it feels like Red Hat. We're providing an unified look and feel, so the experience is better. We have, of course, Rescale. We have Fuse as the connector for everything, and AMQ Streams, which is Kafka underneath, but the product is called AMQ Streams, and Decision Manager for the rules, and PostgreSQL on RHEL, and OpenShift, of course. So everything that you're seeing is just a project running on OpenShift. We are leveraging the power of OpenShift to build this tool.
Oh, this is all on OpenShift, 100%.
Yes.
The whole thing. Okay, cool.
So everything in cloud.redhat.com is running on an OpenShift
Yeah.
environment.
Right. So this is the example architecture of somebody like getting this up and running. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So they would they host their own OpenShift instance, or would we say, connect into ours kind of thing? What are the options there?
Oh, this is deployed for everyone in cloud.redhat.com, so you don't have
it's all cloud-based. Cool.
Yeah, it's cloud-based software as a service, but underneath the hood, not the bonnet, or also the bonnet, if you're in the UK.
Underneath both, yes.
Underneath both, you have all these Red Hat products.
Nice.
So let's take a look at it. Right?
Yeah, let's demo time, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah. So it's already 24 minutes, and we haven't seen.
If you need to go long, you can go long, buddy. Don't worry.
Okay, so we have this is a VMware vSphere environment, and we have some workloads. This is an example. I mean, VMware is present in many of our our customers' data centers, and we are a good partner of them also. So, and we have all these VMs running many things. Oh man, this brings me so many good old memories. I used one FreeBSD machine. Yeah, just to have something that was different. There's some Windows, some CentOS. And I used to
that's simple stuff. Put a FreeBSD box on there. Yeah. Mix it up. I like it.
Yes,
I like it.
I mean, but we have a HANA, and this is a HANA database running.
Okay,
and
so
this
is
a real HANA database.
This is a legit box, right?
Yeah, we have a Tomcat. We have a bit of everything, So we have all this environment, and then we have CloudForms. So let me log out and log in so I can show you from the beginning.
Thank you.
From the beginning, and so here it is. We log in. This is CloudForms. Right now it's configured just with one provider. We go to compute infrastructure providers, and we see our provider. This provider is vSphere. We see this yellow shield in here. This means that there's a capability from CloudForms that is called Smart State Analysis. What Smart State Analysis does is that it can introspect the disk. Okay, it makes a snapshot of the disk, and it finds files in the disk. This is how we detect the workloads. Okay, we have a fingerprint of several files that need to be present to find a workload.
Wow.
And we do it. And the funny thing is that it could run on VMs that are powered off.
Wow.
So
if the disk is there sitting there, like you just inspect the file system, and you can tell very easily if Tomcat is there, or what kind of OS it is, or what other services might be running on that box just by inspecting the disk. That's brilliant. Yeah,
exactly. So we have these VMs. We have 15 VMs in this environment, and it's all configured. We can go into one of them. Let me choose Tomcat and see that we have been able to inspect the files. Okay. So we have here the files, and in Tomcat is pretty straightforward.
It tells you straight up right here. This is definitely a Tomcat server, right? Like you've got the Catalina.sh files, you've got everything's here. This is awesome.
Yeah, and so we got that there, and now we go to we made this add-on to CloudForms. We go migration analytics. You see, and we try to make it as simple as possible. You have here also, in case you want to start migrating, migration plan, infrastructure mappings, and migration settings to be able to do the migration itself of VMs. But in here, we are just going to analyze. So we're going to start from the assessment part to see what we have in here. So we go and click Get Started, and the tool examines the virtualization provider. This is a lab environment, tiny lab environment, running on a cloud as a nested virtualization. So it's pretty tiny. We see one provider with 2 hypervisors, 15 VMs. You could have 20 providers here, okay? And of course, if you have like many providers, you will have to tune it a bit to be able to make it run a bit faster. But I mean, you just leave it one day, so it scans everything, and then you come back the day later and you click here, collect inventory data. You can select the providers that you're going to use. We only have one right here, and you could do it 2 ways. One way, let's make it fast. Okay, let's make it quickly to be able to build the report, the basic report with the initial savings estimation to be able to provide estimation. So you don't configure Smart State Analysis or anything. So it will take you basically minutes to get the data. Okay, if it's a very large environment, maybe an hour. Okay, but not beyond that. So you can start the data and build your savings report.
Nice.
Or you can go for detailed data to find the workloads, which is more important to be able to make the decision on the risk and so on. So if you're thinking, okay, let's give it a try, you could go for the basic data initially, just take a look at how it looks. And if you want to go deeper, you could do it later. So in this case, everything is configured. We go for detailed data. We collect inventory data. 1, 2, 3, takes quite a bit. Okay.
Hey, it's fine. Live
then,
demo.
Okay.
Hey, look at that.
We download the inventory file. .gc, the content is just a JSON file. Okay. So it's pretty straightforward. We have some samples here. Okay, let me show you. Sorry.
Hang on, I need to drop
this is a public repository in case anybody wants to go on there. If you don't want to run it, but you want to search to know what kind of information am I sharing, we have several sample files here with content, so people could go download it, check them. Okay, I'm happy with it. Okay, so we have the file, and now we go to cloud.redhat.com.
Wow.
So cloud.redhat.com, if you already have systems, if you already have, for example, insights configured on a Relay, you already have an account. And you're leveraging that account. If you're going to developers.redhat.com and you're downloading whatever from there, you already have an account.
Yeah.
So you have this account, you go to cloud.redhat.com and you have all these services. They are very interesting services. I mean, for example, I really like this one, cost management. A friend of mine is the product manager for it, Sergio, and it helps you take into account the costs of OpenShift. You have to bring Sergio here. He will give you a very good talk. Yeah. So back to my point, man. I got into the bushes. Sorry. So
it's fine. It's fine, man. It's
migration
live.
analytics.
Yeah.
Migration analytics. We go to migration analytics, and I already have several reports. Okay, but I click on create, select the file, and I have this file. I mean, I could select the one that I just used, but I will choose this one that is a sample file that we use for testing that has like a lot of issues inside and things. So let's choose this one. So this is, let's go to, Tampa report.
Oh.
Okay, I'm wearing today the
Tampa's one of my favorite cities in all the world.
Yeah, I'm wearing the Tampa Bay Lightning. Is where my manager lives. So.
Oh, okay, cool. No, I used to live there. I lived there for 3 years. 02 to 05. Yeah. No, I grew up in Florida for a little bit. Yeah, I love living there. I was stationed there. Yeah. I was in the Air Force for 3 years there. I love living there. It was great.
So going back to our Tampa report, we have to take into account the growth. Okay, how much are we going to grow in the infrastructure? Let's say we have a 5%, 10% growth. We keep it to 5%, and then the migration of the VMs normally. The ELAs from VMware are 3 years, so we are calculating this in a 3-year period, so you can keep the support while you're moving away.
So you can still amortize and use your VMware cluster as needed, and then migrate out further. Like if you don't want to do it all at once and you want to like keep some things on prem, before you migrate out, kind of deal. That's slick.
But the thing is that since we have these tools, things go faster. So instead of 3 years, you could make it in 2. So you make 70% of the migration in the first year and 30%, like the corner cases and the difficult ones, you leave them for
that FreeBSD box running that thing from way back when.
Things like that. So when you click on create report, it uploads and it gets processed, unlike in these kitchen shows, the cooking shows. I already have one prepared, so we don't have to wait. So this is a report for 213 hypervisors, estimated savings for almost $69,000 for 213 hypervisors. The cost of maintaining the support for 3 years, and the cost of the ref, including the growth. Okay. In here, we have the estimation on how much is the customer spending, depending on the discounts that they're getting, okay? And we have this breakdown here saying, okay, this is what we're taking into account. The cost of keeping VMware, this is not the cost of the renewal, this is the cost of keeping VMware during 3 years to keep the maintenance.
So just not moving anything, that's the cost.
Yes. So you don't have to pay for the license because you're not moving to a new version. So this is the cost. And then you have the cost of the hypervisors that you are putting and what you're going to pay for ref, the growth of ref, okay? Training, we are providing training. Of course, people who are going to manage this are going to love be able to be trained. And we chose a training way that I really like, which is the training subscription. You assign a subscription to a person. This person could do all the courses that are online. And if I recall correctly, they have like 3 chances to be able to get a certification. So if they prepare it well, they could get like more than 1 certification in 1 year. And they could be perfectly prepared.
So it's just like an open license for all of our learning, and you can get all the certs you want?
Yes, and you could do all the training you want.
For a year?
Online for a year. So
that's amazing.
Them, yes.
So like I could get RHCSA, I could go get my Ansible stuff, I could go get my CE, I could go get all that stuff. I could be an expert at Rev and something else. Yeah, that's awesome.
And for example, Ansible. That would be super cool.
Yeah. Like I'm Ansible certified, and then like having that skill and having that certification behind me or any employee is often important to a lot of people, right? Like DoD has some requirements around that here in the United States. There are certain organizations that have to have a certain number of certified people on staff based off laws. So that's awesome. That's pretty slick, man. I like that.
Yeah. So try to imagine you're getting a team. You're already training them in Ansible, Ref, and Linux. So all these skills are going to be used in the cloud. You know, are you going to use Ansible in the cloud? Yes. Are you going to use Linux in the cloud? Yes. Ref is KVM based, so there are some similarities. So if you go into it, it's very much Linux and some add-ons to be able to be managed properly, but it's Red Hat Enterprise Linux under the hood. Okay.
That's awesome.
What else? Consulting. So this is to be able to set up a productive pilot on Ref and also do the assessment with the customer, prepare them, enable them to do the migrations, doing some tests, and setting everything ready. This is a template, okay? So, of course, we have to give an estimate, but this is a very good estimate. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And we have found both of them, in which they are more or less.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then,
sure.
Of course, travel and lodging. So if you're based in Raleigh, and we have plenty of consultants there, I mean, no travel and lodging, but if you're based somewhere else, I mean, this is a good estimate on what would be spent. So with this, phase 1, business case, go. Okay, phase 2, migration summary. Oh, let me show you something, okay? I have this.
You missed the big number, though, right? Like you buried the lead there. It's okay.
This is anonymized data from a real case, okay?
Right. Okay, cool.
302 hypervisors, $854,505 in estimated savings. Okay.
Over 3 years, like almost $1 million in 3 years. Yeah. You just save just right off the top.
After spending on training and consulting.
Right,
okay?
right. So you spend so all your people get certified, you get all the help you need, and then you save almost $1 million on top. So it literally pays for itself 3 times over.
Well, it pays for that and for doing another project.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
To invest in innovation, which is the idea.
Yes, you're investing in yourself now at this point.
Yeah. So these are some data centers, you know, that they have 9 data centers, and we got this savings report, which is, I mean, as I say, it's anonymized. So I'm not providing the name of the customer, but I'm showing you something that resembles reality, right?
Real data, real results. Yeah.
So let's go to the migration summary. Okay. This is first the migration assessment. How do we do this? Okay. We have this, what I told you, the flags, remember? That we found these things that are difficult. So we put all these flags together. If a VM has a flag that is more or less, you know, complicated, it goes to medium. If it's a very difficult flag, it will go to hard and so on. So we put all those flags together and we assess, okay, is it going to be easy, medium, or high? So in this case, it's like 59% of them are easy. And then we check for the target, and all of them could be moved to Ref. 83% will be moved to OpenStack. In this case, we didn't have the rules for OpenShift virtualization, which has just arrived, but we are preparing for it to be able to assess your environment and tell you, okay, you could move all these VMs to OpenShift virtualization. And if you have CentOS VM or an Oracle Linux VM that is not running, let's say, WebLogic, because WebLogic requires Oracle Linux.
Yeah.
So it could tell you, okay, you could convert this to Red Hat Enterprise Linux. It's more for CentOS VMs that you don't have under support, but you will probably want to, okay?
Right.
So it could tell you, okay, you could migrate this to Red Hat Enterprise Linux, right? And this has another tool, which is called Converterel, that will do the conversion for you, okay? And the result is fully supported. So you could move from CentOS to Red Hat Enterprise Linux in a fully supported mode for CentOS 7 and CentOS 8.
Dang, okay.
And the workloads, okay, Tomcat, HANA, JBoss, WebLogic, SQL Server, WebSphere, whatever. And then the flags here, something from the operating system. We're going to improve this one. This one, okay, I have to admit, it's not a really good one. So we're going to add some info on the operating systems, which ones are supported, which ones are not, and so on. Not there yet, almost. But I mean, the team is working like crazy. So
yeah, this is hard stuff, right? Like I don't. If you have never been through a cloud migration, like go to my website, chrisshort.net. Not to hype myself too much. Go to my website, chrisshort.net/speaking. I did a talk for a local meetup about the cloud migration that I was just mentioning to you in 2017, and the meetup was, projected to be like an hour long. The talk was supposed to be like an hour, and we ended up spending like 2.5 hours just talking about how to do cloud migrations in an effective way. This shortcuts an enormous amount of that problem, right? Like that talk could have been 0 minutes if this tool existed for me back then.
So I'm in the same situation. The thing is that I have the chance to build it.
Yeah. Like this is why I work for Red Hat, right? Like I've used the products for so long and I love them so much that I want to come in and make them better and more usable for more people. Yeah, exactly.
So really kudos to my engineering teams. One of them in CloudForms, the other one doing this cloud.red.com, because they have done a tremendous job here. And well, it shows how, you see all the flags. I mean, we found some flags here, like raw device mapping, shared disks, and so on. And then we can go to the migration inventory. It's like, okay, what can we do with these workloads? Okay, so I really like to do this. We could go to workload and Tomcat, for example. Customers may be using Tomcat, the upstream version of it. I mean, it's open source. Our Tomcat is also open source. Everything's open source, but this is upstream. It's not supported. It's not certified.
Right.
And it's like, okay, what do we have in here? And sometimes, the good thing about Tomcat is that it's usually heavily standalone in a standalone way. So these applications are very likely to be able to be moved to OpenShift. And OpenShift has JBoss Web Server, which is our certified version of Tomcat.
Yep.
So you will be able to move these applications to JBoss Web Server, Tomcat, on OpenShift in a certified way, and have them in containers and be able to deploy them on premise or on any cloud, very easily. So, and we have teams of our consulting people.
Yeah, this is what the consulting's for, right? To help you make that right decision, right? Like where you're going to get the best performance, where you're going to get the best bang for your buck kind of deal.
Yeah. So sometimes they build like playbooks, Ansible playbooks to move these workloads. Absolutely. And sometimes you have a CI/CD and pipeline, and you just adapt it to OpenShift. So instead of deploying in A, you deploy it in B in OpenShift, and
off you go.
And and you try it. It works. Hey, I already have workloads running OpenShift, and I could move them to Azure, to AWS, to Google, to IBM Cloud, to any cloud. Any major cloud that is supported by OpenShift. So then you could go. So another option, okay, so another workload, Microsoft SQL
Server. Do you have some SQL servers in there? That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to, and this is funny, catalog.redhat.com.
All right, let me drop that in chat here so people
we
can see
have a lot of images in OpenShift that are already certified. I go to software, I go to operators, you see, I go to container images, and I browse for database and data management, and then I go here, Microsoft SQL Server. So you have a Microsoft SQL Server container built by Microsoft, certified by Red Hat, that you could use.
And you just pull that off the shelf and run it in OpenShift, and off you go.
Exactly, and it's maintained. You don't have to maintain it yourself,
Yeah, it's supported.
You want to upgrade, the rollback is already built in Kubernetes. So
Yeah.
you may go
Health
and
checks,
say,
the whole
okay,
9 yards. Yeah.
like, wait. How big, how large are these servers?
Right.
Hey, wait,
Yeah. Like
1.3 gigabytes of space, 2 gigabytes of memory. These are small servers.
okay.
Why
Yeah.
don't we consider moving this to OpenShift in
Right.
containers? And maybe these are serving Tomcats. So you could move all those services to OpenShift more or less easily. Okay, you will have to do the testing, of course. If you have well-tested application, a good test suite, and if you have a good CI/CD environment that has all the integration tests, I mean, you could run it pretty easily. Okay, so these are two ways to work with it. Another one would be, for example, I mean, moving the VMs themselves. You have the list of VMs, but another one that I like is, for example, filtering by WebLogic. Okay, so we have WebLogic and we want to move it to JBoss AIP. We could find all the WebLogics. We could analyze the applications. We have a tool called Application Migration Toolkit that we're going to rename this summer to Migration Toolkit for Applications.
Okay.
That I mean, you get the binaries, the WAR or the ER files, and then it will show them to you. You know, it will review them and tell you, okay, you have to change this class because it's using this logger that is specific to WebLogic, and you should use a JEE class instead of this one, and then you could move it to JBoss. It could also give you some advice on moving to containers. So you could move VMs, you could move applications, you could move things into containers, you could move things to many different targets. The thing is that we are providing you the tools to be able to make that decision, you know?
Right.
So with the help also of the consultants that are always there in the field. I've been a consultant for almost 3 years. I've been in the field. I know what it is. And I know that the experience that you get as a consultant is super amazing. It's really a nice trip to have in Red Hat. You are meeting many customers, many top-notch customers, super good customers doing amazing things, and you're learning from one, other. And then you can go and help the next customer, telling them, Mr. Customer, why don't we do this? So you could be in a much better position, in a much better situation, and your technology could pay better dividends to you. So
and oftentimes what I have found, like even not as a Red Hat consultant, but just being familiar with Red Hat tooling, is that, you know, you show somebody something and it's like the wool's coming off their eyes. Like, wait, huh? Like, we didn't know we could do this, right? And then it's just like full steam ahead. It's that eye-opening moment that you get that just drives the team forward and makes them remember that, like, this is the goal, right? And having that goal is important. If the goal is, you know, we're migrating away from WebLogic, here's how. If we're containerizing SQL Server, here's how, right? Like, this gives you the tooling and capabilities to do so.
Exactly. So now going back to the part A, right? How do we extract the data? So let me show you how easy it would be to extract the data simply, okay? Let me go to this environment, and I have, so I don't make it wrong.
Oh, okay.
I have a script, a playbook to be able to reset the CloudForms environment.
Okay.
Okay, so we have this guide. In this guide is everything written. So we have a very good documentation on how to use it. So let's say that we want to reset it. So why not? Let's build a playbook, right? Excuse me for the scrolling.
Oh, you're fine.
Let's build a playbook. I have this playbook. I go to playbooks, right? And then I run the unconfigured CloudForms. So this will connect to CloudForms, and I will reset it. So you see, it's building a playbook is super easy. You could do things like this, and then suddenly this environment could also work for people to learn on how to do this. By the way, these environments are available for our partners and Red Hatters, so they could do it. And sometimes we build sessions for customers with labs, you know, and we set up a lab and everybody could touch it. So this is what we're doing. And I'll configure this and I'll close it with that. So right now we have okay, services isn't available,
shut it off,
it's down,
yep,
so on.
So bring it back up kind of deal, yeah.
While this happens, let me tell you. So we started with this project something like 14, 16 months ago. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've been working with many teams in Red Hat. We've been working with the RHEL team, with the Ref team, with OpenStack team, with OpenShift teams, with, I mean, like almost every single team around Red Hat that was involved in this. And they've been always so supportive. The thing is that we have all the code available. As always, we put all the code up there. So this is the upstream project for this is called Project Xavier. So if you go to github.com/Project Xavier, you could go and get all the data that we have, all the rules, everything in there. And you could be able to play with it, to provide some input and so on. So it's available. I mean, open source, right?
Yeah, you can see all this stuff yourself, learn from it, do it. Yeah.
And it also encourages collaboration. So it's been a wonderful ride building this tool and being able to work on this. We worked before on the infrastructure migration solution, also with CloudFront teams, with RHEL team, with Ref team, and also OpenStack teams, and being able to add features to RHEL. It was like pretty outstanding. There's a tool under the hood that is called V2V that requires some changes, and this tool required a modification to be able to work the way we wanted to do, so we could, for example, stop a migration in the middle of it, right? So we worked with them. We saw the code, and the engineering teams got together. The engineers got together and started doing what they know how to do best, and they implemented like everything that they needed. So.
Yeah, I've never had a bad interaction with any of our Red Hat engineers. They seem to be the ones that are like, "No, Chris, come on board. Let's help you, get productive," kind of thing, right? Like they always try to, not like they're asking or begging for help or anything, but they're literally like collaboration is like their number one thing. So I've never had a bad experience with any of our development team. And actually now I have a few friends because of the work doing with Ansible operators and everything that are not like, that were just coworkers before. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Working with our teams is awesome. We're great people.
So it seems that this is taking a bit too long. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it. In any case, I mean, let me show you a bit how it would work. But it's simply, we have it here completely described with every single step with the screenshot, so you could follow it very easily. You just go click on Add a Provider. You provide the name of the provider, the type, which in this case is vCenter, and then the credentials. It doesn't have to be an admin account, but it has to be an account that has to be able to read everything, okay? So we even have
read only on everything.
Yeah, we even have a knowledge-based article describing the exact permissions that we're going to need. So once you configure this, you could just go click on Add, and the provider will be done, and you will be able to extract the basic data to be able to do the initial reports and be able to know which VMs are there. Then you could go and add some more steps to configure smart state analysis, and that would be it. So I'm sorry that I cannot show it to you, but
that's fine. What's going on with what's going on over here in your terminal though? Is it making progress or is it?
Oh, it's starting the service already.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, so yeah, we might be able to see this live. Oh, there you go. Done.
There we go. Let's go. Man, this is good.
Hey, see, just got to talk for a little bit. That's all. It's like a cooking show, kind of, right? Like you're just letting the onion saute and caramelize a little, okay?
So it must be starting, okay? Let's give it a moment.
Services take time to start.
Yeah. Should be started already? Okay. Maybe I have to polish this playbook. Oh, man, it's the first time. No,
there's Squid. I saw Squid. Okay, there's stuff going on.
This is CloudForms. Okay.
Oh, that's okay.
System CTL status EVM server D. Oops. It's running. Okay. Okay. This is the machine. Oh, there you are. You see Ruby?
Okay.
So CloudForms is Ruby based. It's starting right now. Okay. Let's give it a minute more. Come on, baby.
Oh, you can do it. You can do it, I believe.
Oh, yes. I mean, we still have like 7 more minutes left. Let's see if we can make it.
Like, seriously, don't worry about time. I do have a meeting after this, but it's being recorded, so I can pick it up later. No worries, right? Like, unless you have to go, like, I have plenty of time.
Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a couple more
hit
seconds.
hit C. I want to see what that Ruby command's doing. Oh, okay.
It's
It's
starting
the actual
automatically.
server. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, Postgres running in the background too. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That's underneath the CloudForms. It's what is there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Ruby on Rails application running with Postgres. I mean,
There
pretty
you
easy.
go. Nice. Okay.
Now it's
Hey,
loading. It's almost there. It's almost there. Come on. Come on,
Diane
baby.
Mueller says, "Take your time. Good cooking takes time."
Indeed, man. Yeah, and slow cooking normally produces better results. So now we go to
Yes.
admin. Now the default password, because it's been reset.
Yes, because it is clear now. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, silly Firefox.
Oh, and there we go. You see, no providers. I click on other provider.
That's awesome.
See, we put the name, vSphere, type VMware, and then we go here vcenter.example.com. Then administrator of vSphere local and the password. Wait. That's it. We validate. It checks that the password is working okay, that it can connect to vCenter. So, and the way this connects to vCenter to be able to do the snapshots is the same way that a backup
Right.
application would do it. So this is not configured. You just need to give it a couple of minutes to be able to authenticate. We could force it here with checking the status and refreshing the relationship of power states,
Yeah.
And
yeah, it'll take a second. I bet that top window's going nuts right now, though.
Yeah.
Very undigging the vSphere pile. So,
and there you go.
There it is. Data. Look at all that.
We could go
That's
to
amazing,
migration analytics. I mean, this is a tiny environment with only
I know it's tiny, but like, this is amazing stuff.
So you see how easy it is to get the basic data. It's just dropping an OVA file, 2 steps, and then 3 more steps, and you're done. And if you want to go with in-depth analysis, are like six more steps or something like that.
Right.
So very, very
That's
straightforward,
awesome.
and you'll be able to see all these data from your environment that could help you make your decisions on migrations.
That's awesome. So cool,
Miguel. Right on time.
Right on time. You nailed it, man. You nailed it. Nailed it. Perfect. Ship it.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for inviting me here.
Thank you. This is amazing stuff. Like this migration analysis is just awesome, right? Like we need to figure out how to get, or migration analytics, sorry. We need to figure out how to get this out there more to more people, because I don't think people realize that like cloud.redhat.com, they probably already have an account for it. They probably could go ahead and do this stuff now with just a few clicks. And like this is awesome stuff. So thank you, Miguel, so much for joining us.
They could build their own map on whether to go to have those Chinese noodles.
Exactly. Here's your GPS route. Yeah.
Next time we meet, I'll invite to the Chinese noodles. Okay.
Sounds great. Sounds great. All right. Well, let's sign off here since we are bumping up against the top of the hour. I will be back here at noon with our OpenShift Commons friends, Andrew Clay Schaefer and Diane Mueller will be joining us for, what are we calling it? Operating models. Cloud native operating models, right? Like how to actually work in a cloud native way as opposed to this traditional VM data center way. So yeah, Miguel, it was great talking to you today. I look forward to having you on again soon, maybe potentially. And I'm super excited about this product. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us today. And how do people find you if they want more information?
Oh, we have an email, migrate@redhat.com. It's not just me; it's the whole team is behind that email. So
wow, okay, so
anything from hey, how do I get this? How do I get the subscription? By the way, let me show you one last thing that I almost forget. redht/migration analytics. We have a product page with a super cool link, and here you could request your cloud. Here, an explanation on how to deploy it in 4 easy steps, and then how to request an evaluation to be able to run it. So anybody could go here and request an evaluation. I almost forgot. Ooh, So
right, slid it right in there. 9:58 my time. Yeah, very nicely done, Miguel. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm gonna sign off unless you got anything else to say, buddy.
Oh yes, send greetings to then. Oh man, Andrew and Diane. Okay,
Thank you.
you're going to meet them in a minute, so send greetings to Diane. I've been a fan of her work, and I've seen many of those OpenShift Commons that she organizes, and she's awesome. So send greetings.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. We'll make sure to amp that up a little more for you today. How about that? All right, buddy. I'll see you soon.
Bye.